Welcome into the Hustle Show podcast on this Wednesday, October 4th for another Hustle Short. I'm Mark Zinno, joined by my partner in crime here today, Drew Martin, at Drew Martin Bets on Twitter. I'm at Mark Zinno, MarkZinno. Drew and I will spend some time looking at the National League Wildcard playoffs tonight. Drew, always good to be with you. A little bit uncomfortable with me hosting the show when you here because you are the A1, day one host of this whole Hustle Show. But it's good to be with you as always.
Good to be with you, Mark, and absolutely, man. Co-hosting together, it's the way the hustle should be. I feel, but I'll tell you, man, we got MLB playoffs. We got football for how many days in a row? I don't even know. Conference USA, huge shout out to them in the college football world here, Mark. I'm not sure if you looked at it. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, a game in Conference USA for the whole month of October. That's great marketing, man. Hats off to the who's ever in charge of Conference USA. I thought that was smart. So we get MLB playoffs and Conference USA here tonight. I like it, man. How do you feel?
Look, if you like college football, they were really smart about this. Why compete against the Power Fives on Saturdays when you can own standalone games on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday? So what? Your schedule's a little bit off. Those kids aren't going to class anyway. So what does it matter?
Do you really think that? Like if you're playing like left guard for FIU, you're not going to class?
Probably not as often as you should, but maybe in the spring. I don't know. I would assume that, regardless, the focus is football for all of those young men, but a different conversation for a different day. All right, we got Major League Baseball playoffs to get into tonight. National League wild card. First game up, Arizona at Milwaukee. Arizona wins last night, 6-3. It's just a gut punch loss for the Brewers. I was on the Brewers last night. I had a bad night in Major League Baseball. I have to admit it. I have to own it. I had Brewers first 5 on the run line, and it was Corbin Burns cruising, and then it all fell apart very quickly. And the bottom of the 4th was just the ultimate, or was it the 5th, was the ultimate gut punch when they had bases loaded with nobody out. And ultimately, it was an incredible catch by Evan Longoria at third base, doubled everybody up, and they couldn't even tie it, let alone take the 1-run lead. But tonight, Zach Allen goes to the D-backs against the Freddie Peralta of the Brewers here. You got the Brewers money line favorite here, seeing around minus 130. Arizona about plus 110, 112 in that range. Your initial reaction to the line and Gallen getting the start tonight?
Man, Zinno, I'll tell you that tonight's matchup, it's very intriguing. I mean, you bring up Zach Gallen here. Obviously a good pitcher in MLB, but he's up against Freddie Peralta. I almost don't know if everybody's given enough respect to him for the Brewers starter. I mean, Peralta down the end of the season, guys, he had 92 strikeouts in 62 innings. If you're getting like a strikeout an inning, that's really good. When you're getting like 33% more strikeouts than you are innings pitched, you're doing something right. I don't know if he's got sticky stuff going on, whatever he's able to do. If he's able to bring that into the playoffs, that's not a guy I want to be betting against. Now, I came into this, Mark, with wanting to be on the D-backs. I really did, just because Zach Gallen, he's got great numbers as well. I feel like more people know about that, though. And the D-backs, like winning the game yesterday, like you talked about, 6-3. I do think this goes to kind of the rubber match game in game 3. So overall, I think the Brewers find a way to take this. And Peralta, I'm going to ride those strikeout numbers, man. I would go with the Brew Crew in this one. Did you finally get down on it, or are you jumping back in the well?
I mean, look, last night part of the handicap was not only that it was Corbin Burns on the mound, but it was Arizona's offense, who since September 1st on the road is batting .213. Their WRC plus and OPS last in the league on the road over the course of the month of September. So the fact that they were able to hit as many home runs as they did and hit the ball as well as they did was kind of what I didn't put in my handicap, didn't think it was going to happen. I thought that Corbin Burns would be able to keep him quiet, and he did not. So I don't know if the bats will pop back up tonight against a really quality starter like Freddie Peralta. Now, Gallen has been much better at home this year than on the road, but still, this is an ace with ace level stuff. So you expect your aces to be able to deliver in spots like this. I really feel like first 5 under may be the deal, but you have to have extra large huevos at 3.5 because there's not a lot of room for error there when it comes to 3.5 coming, the first 5 under. I mean, do we see less runs scored in this game with these two starters? I would tend to think so. The problem is anytime you're going to bet against Arizona, you probably want to do it for a full 9 innings because their bullpen is so bad that you're going to give the other team a chance to get back in it. We've seen it plenty of times this year, the way the Arizona bullpen has sort of given up leads late. So I'm kind of torn between a first 5 under here and just taking Milwaukee at a very manageable minus 130 price on the money line.
And well, you bring up the bullpen. I mean, what Arizona's bullpen just yesterday, and I do agree with you that through the course of the season, it could be even like their Achilles heel at times. But I almost have changed my handicap, Zena, to like, what has your bullpen done recent in like big time matchups? Because I feel like that almost matters more. How the guys come in or pitching more recent, and what they went like over 6 innings yesterday, and were pretty much shut down. So, I don't know. I mean, how bad are they? They're not like terrible in current form. That's what would,
and that's the real issue, that they had to use, what was it, 6 relievers last night in that game. 2, 3, 4, they have 5 relievers. Sorry, in that game last night, and the numbers when it comes to baseball, it's like for a team that has been consistently bad in the bullpen, if they were bad or if they were good last night, chances are they're going to be bad because that's why their numbers are bad. So last night was the anomaly, right? Last night was the blip on the radar where they pitched really well. And overall, you would expect them to come back to form, which is a bullpen this year that is bottom 10 in the league. It's got a 4.22 ERA and a 1.3 whip. And they allowed 79 home runs this year. So, which is bottom 10 in the league. So, I mean, it's one of those things where what do you really trust to happen? I'm with you. I would probably lean on Peralta in the full game here and hope that the Milwaukee Bats can force a third game.
All right, man. We got another one, a little double header action nighttime, and of course I'm going with the Marlins tonight. I mean, it's my fish. It's a shocker here. I did lose on them last night, by the way, and just their season lives on the line here, Mark. And they get Braxton Garrett on the hill. He's been good. Now up against Philadelphia, Aaron Nola, big name himself. And I'll tell you, I got to give credit where credit is due. A tip of the cap, if you will, to the Philadelphia Phillies and that stadium atmosphere, Mark. That was probably the best MLB stadium atmosphere I've seen. Like that's like college football type, big time Saturday night matchup, if you know what I mean. That was pretty cool to see. I almost feel like it might have an effect on the game. I guess we'll see if it happens again tonight with the Marlins bats only able to get 1 run last night. I mean, they're not the greatest lineup in the playoffs. In fact, they're probably the weakest lineup in the playoffs. Braxton Garrett's been hot. Fish season lives on the line tonight, but they are catching a plus price here, as high as plus 135. How do you see this one, the Marlins and the Phillies NL East playoff battle?
I mean, in theory, the Phillies have, that is better. And they're going up against the Marlins team right now that offensively look all that great. However, the Phillies, since September 1st at home, have had the highest strikeout percentage in the league. Offensively, they're only batting .224. They're not really scoring a ton of runs or hitting a ton of home runs at home. And I think if Braxton Garrett, can get into a groove early, he might have something here. I've had a run of bad luck betting with Philadelphia this year in games where, I bet the full game and I've watched him pull starters early and the bullpen blows it and everything else. And look, I bet on the Fish last night. I took the 1.5 just because of how good they've been in 1-run games this year. So I was kind of riding that trend going into this whole game here. But, I want to think that the Marlins can get back in this thing, but they got to find score. And that's really what it boils down to, which is why I kind of feel like you take the Marlins in the first 5 here, Drew. I always go with this adage in baseball: if they ain't scoring early, they probably ain't scoring late, right? Like I don't want to have a game that I'm betting on, hope that in the 7th, 8th, or 9th inning I get lucky and they score 3 or 4 runs to pull out a win here. So I think if you're going to take Miami, you take them on the first 5 and hope that Braxton Garrett is good enough to limit the damage, and Miami can find a way to score. Last night in that game, after Jesus Luzardo got out of the first inning without any runs, I felt like, yep, that was the one. That was the spot right there where the Phillies missed it to explode and take an early lead, and they blew their best chance. They end up not doing it because they scored 3 runs in the 4th inning, but nonetheless, again, I still feel like Miami first 5 is the only way you play the Marlins here. Otherwise, you got to go Phillies full game.
Interesting. I agree with you that Braxton Garrett, looking to be on him in the first five. I do think the Marlins bullpen is pretty good though. So they loaded it up. If you look at their kind of bullpen playoff roster, how you got to set your roster for each series. They got a bunch of good lefties there, and you can tell they're going lefty lefty as the starters in game one, game two. They like that matchup, and Jose Luzardo, yeah, he's talented. He's probably more talented than Braxton Garrett, definitely more velocity guys. But the fact is, I mean, there's some surprising numbers with Garrett. The Marlins have won 21 of Braxton Garrett's 30 starts. So 21-9, the team is when he starts. That makes Miami, they're actually 5 games under 500 when Braxton Garrett isn't their starting pitcher. So this is the time to be betting on the Marlins. I mean, obviously it's the last game if they lose that you would have the ability to bet on the Marlins, but I just thought that was an interesting stat. Nola, he struggled against the Marlins. He allowed 4 earned runs in all 3 of his starts against the Marlins. So in terms of like the matchup lineup against the starting pitcher, it does favor the underdogs. I mean, obviously I'm a little bit biased here towards the Marlins, but even the way I would handicap this, regardless, just the handicapper in me, I like betting underdogs in MLB anyway. To get near what plus 135 right now, risk 100 to win 135. That's what I'm doing, Zinno. I'm on the fish tonight. Now, hey, might be the end of the season, but it is what it is, my man.
Yeah, and I certainly agree. And Braxton Garrett, by the way, has been much better on the road this year than at home. A 2.85 ERA on the road compared to 4.46 at home, keeping opposing hitters to a 2.24 batting average, 50 points lower than what he does at home. I'm sorry. Yeah, so 50 points better on the road. This year, he's faced the Phillies twice, some good, some bad, went a total of 10 innings, gave up 6 runs. That's a 5.4 ERA. So he didn't have the best run against them this year in head-to-head matchups. But again, the Phillies versus lefties, it's a really high K rate that they've had. Again, he had 5 innings each start against them, 3 runs. And coincidentally, again, you talked about his wins. They won both of them, the Marlins did. So maybe you're right. Maybe that's the way to go here is take the Marlins on the money line and just hope for the fact that the Marlins can pull this one out. I would lean Marlins with you. You might have convinced me here, Drew, to get to the window on Miami, as nauseating as that may be for some of us here. But the Phillies against lefties have just not hit the ball well at home over the month of September. And again, they didn't really exactly bust out the whooping sticks last night. They scored 3 runs early off Luzardo, but other than that, the damage is pretty limited. So I think he can back him, for the second night in a row.
In Zinno, I mean, remember, guys, I feel like they got 3 runs in the 4th. That blue pit that just made it, that's always hard to handicap. So, I mean, they deserve to win, but keep in mind those type of things. Also, I have a handicapping question for you, Zeno. In baseball, I almost feel like when your season life is on the line, like the Marlins tonight, like the Brewers, it's almost to the point where I think it's actually an advantage more so than other sports, just because of the fact it's all hands on deck, right? Like it's worry about tomorrow. When it gets late in the game and you need the pitcher, there's no reason in saving him. So for this game, I feel that does favor the teams that are down 0-1 in the series. The series of 3, if you're new to betting baseball in the postseason, you only got to win 2 of these games in the series. So for teams like the Marlins tonight and the day games, I do feel like there is a little bit of an advantage to betting the team that is down 0-1 because of the all hands on deck situation from the bullpen.
No, I'm with you. I get it. You might have convinced me here. I'll at least make it a free play up on my page. I'll put the Marlins plus 130 on the first 5. I'll do that much because it's worth it. No, the arguments are there. I don't know. The Phillies playoff experience obviously helps them, but sometimes that's not enough. I think in general, when you look at what matters in the postseason, the pitching matters, and I think there's an argument to be made that the better starter is on the mound here in Braxton Garrett, or at least a better track record for this season. And the Marlins just have to find a way to play with the lead. If they do that, I think they're much better off. So make sure you guys go to my page on Sports Memo, sm.buzz/MZ. $20 off 7-day pass right now. Use the code Zinno20. Drew, what else you got for today?
Yeah, absolutely, man. It was fun breaking down the games with you, Zinno. We got the hustle going tomorrow. Got a 5% max limit play up here at wagertalk.com going tonight. And yeah, that's about it, man. Some good baseball and college football pretty much the rest of the way here for the next, 2 months about. And again, shout out to Conference USA, a conference that I've really kind of honed in on here, Zinno. I'm going down to the Sun Belt Conference USA and watching all the games, go back and replay them. Technology is a wonderful thing. It kind of helps out in handicapping. So we'll see if it makes us some money this week, man. But yeah, any final thoughts here before we shut it down?
No, again, make sure you guys check out the Hustle Show in its entirety every Thursday, 7 o'clock. Drew Martin will be in this host chair, rightfully where he belongs. But check it out on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. Of course, follow us all on Twitter at Hustle Show Pod. He's at Drew Martin Betts. I'm at Mark Zinno, MarkZinno. So for Drew Martin, I'm Mark Zinno. Make sure you guys like and subscribe to the WagerTalk YouTube channel. Smash that like button. As always, follow all the great content here. Back tomorrow with another Hustle Short. Actually, the full hustle tomorrow. That's right. No Hustle Short. Full hustle. Tomorrow's Thursday. I already lost my calendar days. Back for another one on Friday. Go cash some tickets. Enjoy the baseball and football tonight. Have a great night.